What if the thing that you have been calling your personality is actually a protection pattern? Welcome back to the Broken and Brave podcast. If you have ever thought, this is just who I am, I'm just an anxious person, I've always been like this, I get it. You've probably had numerous experiences and you recall being anxious. So it makes sense that your brain would conclude that you are, that this is just who you are. And I want you to pause with me just for a second and open your heart and your mind to the possibility of something different. What if the thing that you've been calling your personality is actually a protection pattern that your body learned? And if that's the case, then you're not stuck being this way because it's always possible for you to learn a new way of being. And if when I said that, you had this little voice pop up that you were like, I don't know, I've been like this for 30 years. I get it. If someone came to you and they said that they were going to learn something new, what would you say to them? You would probably tell them that even if they feel nervous, they've got this. Just slow down, take their time, and they'll learn it, right? Because you inherently know that we can always learn something new. And if you wouldn't respond to somebody that way, well, then that's probably a whole nother topic that we need to talk about, but that's for another day, okay? Now, for a long, long time, I believed my anxiety was me. It felt so consistent, so automatic, so part of how I thought, how I reacted, and how I moved through the world. And I didn't recall being any other way. I didn't. I was fairly certain I had generalized anxiety disorder, and maybe you can relate to that. Maybe you've built your life around anxiety to anticipate it, to manage it, to work around it. And at some point you stopped questioning it and you just started managing it. So, of course, it feels like your identity and part of who you are. I want you to try on this distinction, though. Anxiety isn't who I was. It's what my nervous system learned to do. Anxiety is not who you are. It's what your nervous system learned to do. And your nervous system may have learned it for a wide variety of reasons. I'm going to list a few of them, and I want you to pay attention. Which of these feel familiar to me, resonate with me? First one, it may have developed due to uncertain or unpredictable situations where you questioned your safety, or repeated situations of high stress, unpredictability, fear, or emotional intensity. Environments that felt emotionally unpredictable, where you could have received inconsistent responses from other people, particularly adults, or there were unclear expectations, or maybe your emotions weren't safe to express, or they weren't acknowledged or processed. How do those resonate? And as you hear that list, you might think about it in terms of, okay, to what extent did this happen in childhood before my brain was fully developed? To what extent in adolescence and when I was a teen into my 20s and beyond? Okay, these are common things that happen for people where their nervous system learned, okay, anxiety is the way to be because all of that feels like too much and I want to protect myself from that. Now, we could go on and on and on with that list, but I'll keep it there. And when people hear that anxiety is their nervous system's response by learning a new way to do things, they often feel one of two reactions: relief and or skepticism. And the relief maybe sounds like, okay, good, I'm not doomed to be like this forever. And the skepticism might be, but it feels so constant, or my mom struggled with anxiety, or I don't remember being any different, or my trauma was too intense. And you might have felt both at the same time. When something has been running the show for years or even decades, your brain can easily draw that conclusion. But let's just try on the idea that anxiety is a protective response. It's your body's way of saying, okay, something might not be safe. Let me prepare you. And then when left in default mode, it would rather over prepare than miss something important. And this is where things get important. Protection is not the problem, right? Like, we want to be protected. That's good. When protection turns on, when it's not actually needed, and then does that over and over and over and over again, then there's something to address. So I want to dive into a few of the most common experiences that anxiety is actually trying to protect people from. In case you've been having that question, like, what is my anxiety trying to protect me from? Maybe you've thought about that, maybe you haven't. This is a long list. So when you listen to the list, I want you to notice what stands out and resonates with you, okay? Number 1, emotional pain. So this could be feeling fear, sadness, grief, anger, shame, disappointment, etc. Number 2, loss of control, fear of not knowing what will happen and if things will go wrong. Number 3, uncertainty, uncertain outcomes, unpredictability, ambiguity. Number 4, rejection or disconnection, being judged, disliked, excluded. Number 5, failure, trying to prevent making mistakes, being seen as inadequate, not meeting expectations. Number 6, physical sensations. That could be racing heart or tight chest or shortness of breath or dizziness, or, I can go on and on with the list, but you know what your physical sensations are. And that's because your system has associated them with danger. Obviously, physical sensations are supposed to happen, but when they're getting in the way of everyday life like that, they've been associated with danger. Now, number 7, being caught off guard, being surprised or unprepared or overwhelmed suddenly. Number 8, vulnerability, maybe being seen fully, expressing your needs, opening up emotionally. Number 9, fear of repeating previous bad experiences. Number 10, it can even be trying to protect you from self-discovery. So anxiety can try to prevent you from exploring your internal world, emotions that you haven't processed, needs that you haven't acknowledged, or other truths that you haven't faced. All 10 of those are some of the most common ways anxiety is trying to protect us. Which of these can you relate to? How many of those can you relate to? And if you slow down and think about it, haven't most people had these experiences? Emotional pain, not knowing what will happen, unpredictability, feeling rejected, failing, making mistakes, those physical sensations, feeling caught off guard, vulnerability, repeating previous bad experiences or bad choices. Everyone, literally everyone, has had those experiences. So one of the things that has happened for you, if you're resonating and you're listening with this, your nervous system learned at some point that certain emotions, situations, sensations, or even thoughts meant danger. And so the sensitivity setting now is high, meaning that very quickly the system will go to danger, when in reality, most of life is not inherently dangerous. Now, what I want to make clear is, if anxiety is learned, if it's a conditioned response, we can learn a new way. We don't have to force it away. We don't have to think our way out of it, and definitely not going to do it by trying to control every variable in your life. But instead, teach your body something new. Most people stay stuck because they're trying to solve anxiety from the mind. They're trying to analyze, research, avoid, reassure. And for a moment, it might give you relief, maybe even for a bit. But it also teaches your body this is something to be afraid of. And I don't think that's what you want to do. So that pattern then stays intact underneath. And the shift has to begin with your body, because your nervous system is where the pattern lives. When you begin there, then everything else starts to shift. Your thoughts, your reactions, your tolerance, your self-trust, meaning I've got this, no matter what it is. And if this is landing for you and something in you is recognizing yourself in this, then I want to invite you to something. I created a free online workshop called the Anxiety Relief Experience, where I'm going to walk you through why anxiety keeps showing up the way it does, what's actually keeping you stuck, and what it looks like to begin shifting it in a real, long-lasting way. This is a 3-day experience so that you can stop feeling like this is who you are and start experiencing what it's like when your body finally feels safe again. You can join me by clicking the link in the show notes below or by going to www.brave-method.com/anxiety-relief-experience. You're not your anxiety, I promise. You are the one that is experiencing a protective pattern, and you can break free from this. And anything that was learned can be unlearned. I'll see you inside the workshop and on the next episode.